Hello there YouTubers, and welcome to another DrCassette video. Today we're going to find out how to transfer videos from the Sony VX1000 onto the computer. I got a lot of questions on my review of the VX1000, and so we are going to go into detail as far as possible. Now first, some things about the Sony VX1000 itself. This camera records exclusively to mini DV tapes. There is no internal memory, there are no memory chips, nothing. Only this tape. Also, this camera does not have any kind of USB connectors. This camera gives you a FireWire jack to transfer your videos to the computer. Now let's talk about the things that you need to transfer your videos. Well, first of all, you obviously need a video. Then you need a cable. This plugs into the FireWire jack of your VX1000, and this cable is called a FireWire cable, an IEEE 1394 cable, or an iLink cable. And the best way to get one of these cables is the internet, because in the internet they are much cheaper. Although you shouldn't go with the cheapest cable like I did, this is really a piece of garbage. Anyway, you're going to need a cable with this kind of small FireWire jack. This is the end that plugs into the VX1000. Now then, always depending on your computer, you're either going to need a big plug on this end or another small plug. And that leads us to the next thing. Of course, you need a computer, and the computer has to have a FireWire jack. Now, as far as I know, all recent Macintosh computer models do feature FireWire. However, on PC computers running Windows or Linux or whatever, the FireWire jack is not all too common nowadays. Right there in the center of the picture you can see the symbol for FireWire, and there are the jacks that you can probably find on your computer. Now if your computer does not have a FireWire jack, not a big problem, you don't have to get a new computer. What you'll have to do is you'll have to get a FireWire card. That plugs into one of the IDE slots in your computer. The FireWire card is rather cheap, around about 20 euro. If you're using a laptop that doesn't have FireWire, things are a bit more complicated. As far as I know, there are external FireWire to USB converters, but you'll have to do some research about that by yourself. Now that you've made sure that you have all the necessary items, start up your computer and plug your FireWire cable into the FireWire jack of the computer. Make sure that the VX1000 is turned off. That is very important because there have been cases where plugging the VX1000 into the computer while it was turned on damaged the FireWire circuitry of the VX1000. Then go ahead and plug in the FireWire cable. Now you can go ahead and switch the VX1000 into the player mode. And if everything is wired up correctly, your computer should recognize the camera and pop up with a message looking like this. If you have Windows XP on your computer, of course. Now, of course, from this point on, everything is depending on your computer system and on the software that you have. But I am going to describe how I'm doing it. So, well, first of all, I'm going to get rid of this message because the video editing program that I normally use does not appear in that message. I'm using CyberLink Power Director version 8 Ultra. Now this is a very popular program, and it can be found pre-installed on many computer systems, PC computer systems, as a downsized version. So here we have our video editing software, and this is of course the part of the program that's for editing. Now we first have to do the transferring of the video. So we go up here, and that brings us into another part of the program. And now I can select. Currently I have my built-in TV tuner card selected. That's the default. Up here we have record off of a DV device, and that's what we want to have. So click that, and you can probably hear the video editing program accesses the VX1000 and puts it into playback pause. What we have down here are some playback controls. We don't even have to use the playback controls on the VX1000 itself. Just want to back up a little bit. And as you can see, that's what the VX1000 is doing, and it does have a bit of a lag, so you can't do very exact editing right here. But I have prepared a little test video, so I want to press play back. And there is our preview screen right there. And there are some test bars. And after this point, I want to record. And now we are recording.
This is a test video.
Now, when the video reached its end, something went wrong right here. Alright, when the video reached its end, now that is interesting, didn't know about that feature, but when the video has reached its end and there is no other recording on the cassette, this program does notice that and stops the recording automatically. So we then get a little field where we can put in the name of the video. I'm going to name it test and OK. Now there are some other little features and functions that you can mess around with. We have down here, for example, we have this shows us what kind of a DV device we have selected, and down here it says Sony DV. We can right here we can select in what kind of a profile we want to record, what kind of a format we want to have. And here is an important thing. It does give you an information about the dropped frames. And ideally, you would end up with 0 frames that were dropped. If you have a bit of a weaker computer system, you may find out that with some formats, with the higher quality formats or the higher compressed formats, your computer is just not fast enough to do all the processing while the video is transferring, and then you'll end up with a lot of dropped frames down here, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Now, then we go back into the edit part of the video, and as you can see, we get our imported video directly imported into the timeline. Now, if you don't have any kind of video editing software and you don't want to get any kind of video editing software, you can still go with the good old Windows Movie Maker. And this is probably the program that most of us have learned editing videos on. And this is really just for beginners. You'll soon find out that this really doesn't do everything you would like to do. But it is a pretty much reliable program, and it can do the basic things, and in most of the cases it's actually quite a bit better than the kind of software that you can get for free in the internet. So this is of course the Windows XP version of Windows Movie Maker. On the Windows 7 Movie Maker and the Windows Vista Movie Maker, this all does not apply. There is a completely different process. And you actually have to record the videos using some kind of a media manager. On here it's fairly easy. It's integrated into the Movie Maker. You just click Import Video from Device. Record video from device. Of course, this is a German version, and I don't know what it's all called in the English version. Now you do get this little window right here, and you get a choice. Now this right here should not appear in your computer. This is my video editing, or actually my video capturing card that I have in my computer. What we want to have is Sony DV device. So select that and press continue. Then choose a name for your file. Once again, I want to choose test. Continue. Now this right here is important. Right here you select the format in which you want to record. Now the default is something called optimum quality for playback on computer. Now this is garbage and it's nowhere near optimum. So you better choose one of the other two things. Now the thing that we have right here is format for digital device DVAVI. Now this transfers your videos exactly the way they were recorded on the tape. The big advantage is you're getting exactly what you've recorded without any kind of quality loss, without any kind of compression, just the way it's on the VX1000. The big disadvantage is that the files are absolutely huge, and after a few minutes the file size has already reached, will already have reached a couple of gigabytes. So what I like to use is other settings. And right here we have a wide variety of different things that we can use. And I want to choose Video High Quality PAL, and that gives me a WMV container, WMV format, but otherwise it's exactly the settings that we also have on the VX1000, the exact same resolution and the exact same frames per second rate. Press continue. And then we have a setting, either we can record the whole entire tape automatically, or we can record parts of the tape manually. And we can also select if we want to have a preview while recording what we have on the VX1000. Now if you have a weaker computer, you better click that you don't want to have a preview, and then continue. And there we go. This is our window the way it is on Windows Movie Maker. And first of all, rewind. Guess that was already enough. And then we can press playback. And you do get a preview right here. And we want to wait a little bit until we've reached the beginning of our test video. And if the test video starts, we press start recording. And there it goes, and you can see the file size growing down there, and you can see the time going by right there. And you can also see the preview is turned off while recording, just as we have selected that. Okay, the Windows Movie Maker doesn't shut off automatically when there is nothing on the tape anymore, so we have to end our recording manually and press stop right there and press ready. And there you have your imported video. So that's how you do it with the Windows Movie Maker, even though I don't recommend using the Windows Movie Maker. So there you have it. This is how you transfer videos from the VX1000 to your computer using a FireWire cable. Now, I do have to say this is not the ideal way of doing it. The playback puts a lot of additional wear and tear on your precious VX1000 and shortens its lifetime. So what a lot of people are doing to prevent that is they get a separate so-called capture cam. A capture cam can be any cheap mini DV camcorder that is still able to play back mini DV tapes perfectly fine. You can make a good deal by getting a mini DV camera with a broken camera part for doing that all. But the playback part has to work perfectly. If it does, the capture cam is just going to play back exactly the same thing that your VX1000 has recorded, since it's all digital. And of course, for as long as your capture cam features FireWire, which in this case is located right down there. This is a Sony DCR HC24. The process is exactly the same as on the VX1000. One interesting thing is that if you have the VX1000 hooked up to your computer and you put it into record mode instead of playback mode, and you take out the cassette, you can use your VX1000 as a very high-end webcam. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and see you again soon.